Mike Guarino is an extremely successful healthcare entrepreneur, but his greatest lesson came from his daughter. She has nonverbal autism. They walked 500 miles across Spain, and what she did changed how her dad sees the world. He's testified before Congress, met presidents, met popes, met all kinds of people, but he calls the homeless his friends. He throws his nicest stuff into a campfire to teach our youth a major lesson, and he calls himself a whack job. This guy is interesting. Very interesting. But here's what I want you to remember about him. The homeless tried to take a hit out on him, and you're never going to guess who tried to save his life. Hello and welcome to Purpose Matrix. I'm very excited for today's guest, Mr. Mike Guarino. Mike, how are you doing today?
Living the dream, brother. You doing well?
Life is good. Life is good. So I'll give Mike's bio, but I first have to tell the story on how we met. And so Mike and I were at a event with Matthew Kelly a few weeks ago, and we get there the night before, and he's at a table, and my wife Marcia and I are just chatting, kind of like, hey, where should we sit? And we see this table, like, there's some empty seats. We'll sit there. And I mean, you're gonna learn more about Mike. I don't know how the most interesting man in the church, but I was trying to size him up. Like he kind of looks like Donald Trump, kind of loud, a little bit of East Coast style. I'm like, who is this guy? And as I got to know him over the course of the day and a half, I fell more and more in love with him. Just a great guy with a incredible amount of business success and a bigger heart, and really, really aspirational. Mike, thanks so much for joining again. An accountant by trade, worked for the IRS, founder of Guarino Healthcare Management, and founder of Independent Physician Association of New York, which they sold a couple of years ago, with his wife Marissa, who I'm sure you'll talk about. But really, his COO, if he's a visionary, she's the integrator. Medicare healthcare disruptor. We'll probably talk about this little disease called asthma and what they're doing with that, which is mind-blowing. 3 adult children, and I mentioned serving, but youth ministry for years, works directly with the homeless. I mean, there's no reason he has to do this stuff, and he's doing that. Hosted an event I'm sure he'll talk about, and he's talked to the popes. He knows the presidents. We were the last thing I'll say, and I want to get to Mike here is, we were talking. He's like, "Oh, Jonathan Rumi. Yeah, I had dinner with him last week. He's the character that plays Jesus on The Chosen." These are the people that Mike knows. So, Mike, again, thanks so much. I tried to do that introduction justice, but above all those titles and accolades and people, you do have a big heart. But tell us where that started, maybe, or like how did you become Mr. Mike that you are today? By the way, there's another title that I'm going to come back to later. I didn't get to. I'm wearing the wristband, but you'll have to wait and see on that one.
So, I was raised Catholic, always trying to do the right things. I had 2 amazing parents also that just loved serving God's people. My mother did a lot with the Mental Health Society, working with, back in, the 70s and 80s, she was opening group homes to have mentally ill people in communities because she knew they had to be integrated. So always working with that, or seeing, so always being formed that way, going to mass, but truly no encounter with the Lord. So never had adoration. Never, growing up, never went on retreat. And then one event happens is my daughter with autism, completely nonverbal. I was told that she could not receive Holy Communion. We're going to mass. She's baptized, nonverbal. The priest says she can't receive communion. I leave the church. I'm like, how can I love a church that doesn't love my disabled daughter? Broke my heart. I was still praying and trying to do the right things, but I didn't have communion. The Lord gave me a message where to adopt my son, and we adopted our son, Michael. I have to go get him baptized. I go to a different Catholic church. And Monsignor John Sipple said, of course she could be baptized. You're going to talk about autism. The day Michael's received communion, Michael's going to be baptized. You're going to talk about autism, and she's going to receive communion. When Brittany first received communion, she turned pure white and fell to her knees. I saw the Holy Spirit enter my daughter, and it changed my life. I was like, this is real. So after that, I asked Monsignor Sipple, now what? And he goes, you're our new youth minister. That was 26 years ago of me serving the Lord through his teens in middle school and high school. and by walking with them. And that's when I had my first encounter with the Eucharist. And now the Lord speaks to me all the time by being open and spending time in silence. You know what? You were talking about business. My business is blah, 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 right? I've been very successful growing a network from a crazy concept in my head to 3,500 doctors in New York that we built. We were taking risk on $2 billion in healthcare and growing. And then we've done a lot in different fields. I do a lot in food industry. So that's all like the white noise. It's like, how can you bring people closer to Christ each and every day? Right? It's the salvation of souls. And once you truly encounter the Lord, it's just different. And my life is just different for that reason, is that I've really been encountered him.
The white noise, how incredible. I mean, so let's spend 2 minutes, because I know you don't want to, but on business. By the way, I also didn't mention this in his intro, but he's a member of Legatus. Look up what Legatus is. And not only a member, but just recently received the Ambassador of the Year award in Legatus, which is a really, really, really high level, like very, very, you got to be doing a lot to get that award. So Mike, good job. I want to talk business just for a minute. I want to just set this up, because I think where I want to go with this is the responsibility that we have as entrepreneurs and business owners, and the mindset of service. But I really want to give context to this a little bit, so people, as we get into that, people appreciate it. So tell us more about just what would you say your key to success in business has been, in the ability to grow, to scale, to exit, to have an impact with business? Like, how do you think about all that? What's the key to that?
So, and it's Matthew Kelly's like, do the next right thing. You know what I'm saying? So one day we received a bonus. So I'm working with 3,500 doctors. I received this large bonus from Blue Cross Blue Shield, but my doctors already were receiving it by the month. This was all supposed to go to my company. On the spot, without even thinking, I said, this all goes to the docs. My VPs and everybody else, what are you talking about? It's like, nope, it's not fair. They're not getting anything. I deserve nothing. But what did that do? It showed that it wasn't a transaction. It's a relationship. All the agreements said that complete bonus, $3 million was supposed to come to us. And on a second's notice, I gave it to share with my physicians, all of it. But what it did is it grew my group from 1,000 doctors to 3,500 doctors, because like, no, he gets it. It's so, you know, my biggest compliment, one of my biggest compliments ever, is when an atheist, he says he was an atheist physician, walks into my office and says, hey, Mike, my daughter's having surgery. Will you pray for her? And I'm like, are you making fun of me? You tell me you believe in nothing. He says, no, if there's a God, I know they'll listen to you. So he saw something in me, the person I am, and that's how you have to live your business. It's like, you know, my crazy Bible sits next to me anywhere I'm going. There's the word next to me. At my office, that word's right next to me. This book isn't 10 feet from me, like 99% of my day.
Wow.
Right. So if the Lord tells me to pick up, like today it was Luke 10, I just sat in Luke 10 and just not the Good Samaritan. I read the whole piece and said, hey, look, we're after the Good Samaritan. Look what he does right afterwards, right? It's Martha and Mary's story. So here you're supposed to serve, but you're supposed to sit at his feet. You're like, wait a second, where am I supposed to be? I'm supposed to be both. And that's how I start my day. So for me, I ask for the gifts of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding every single day. In business, Lord, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in over my head. I had no idea what I was doing when I built this company of 3,500 doctors. I was running ambulatory surgery centers, and I realized ambulatory surgery centers only represented 2% of the healthcare spend. I was like, I got to swim upstream, or I'm just a guppy that can be swallowed up. And that's how I built it. I put a think tank together. I put 8 businessmen, 8 doctors, the head of Medicare, flew everybody to Florida. We sat for 3 days in rooms, and that's how I created the Independent Physician Association of New York. Being inspired by the Lord, telling me what to do. He said, sit down with people smarter than you. I had no idea. I never did that before.
That's incredible. So, and to me, from a leadership perspective, the mindset of, first of all, humility in, okay, I have this idea, but I need to get the smartest people I can around me. So my network, my associations are so critical. And then, okay, when I bring these people in though, like what's in it for them? How can I serve them? Just like the bonus that you got, right? A servant mindset with just wisdom and truth right next to you all the time that you can refer to. So when you're stuck or just wherever you are in your day, you have access to that all the time, whether you're thinking about it or it's literally right there and you can pull it up.
In business also, right, is being in the Word, right? So every day I start right now reading this crazy book, right? So I'm always in the Word next to me doing something. But then also in the Word. So the one day I'm reading something, not getting it out of it. So I open up, I do Bible roulette. You pick any random page, right? And what's it supposed to be? And it's the story of the 4 men carrying him in Capernaum, come to the roof, cut the hole, lower their body. Jesus heals them. Okay, Lord, am I supposed to bring someone to be healed? Lord, am I need to be healed? Lord, am I supposed to heal somebody? Right? So I'm open. Sitting in my conference room table, a doctor walks in and says, hey, Mike, I have to cancel the rest of my cases today. My daughter has fluid on the brain. I'm driving her from Johns Hopkins from Long Island. He's driving down to Johns Hopkins. I said, don't drive. I said, go to the airport. I'll get you a plane or a helicopter. What do you want? I had never gotten one before. I just got on the phone, started working. He showed up, got a plane. We fly her to Baltimore. Ambulance picks her up into the ER. They cut her open. Blood shoots across the room. She would have died in the next hour. If they drove, she wouldn't be here today. So the Lord used me I read, inspired. I was supposed to bring somebody to be healed. So when somebody comes in and I hear that word from the Lord, it's not like, oh, I'll pray for you. Have a nice day. It's about how can I make life? How can I bring somebody closer to the Lord? How can I help somebody today? And that's how I live my life and seen such crazy fruit from that.
I mean, one thing that I struggle with, and as an entrepreneur, you know, trying to get things done, have all these ideas, right? You talk about how you're a visionary, you have all these ideas all the time. It can create really busyness. I mean, we can get distracted. We can go in so many different directions. And pausing do you have like a routine where you just force yourself to stop whatever you're doing and just get quiet? How do you force yourself to do that? Because it's a struggle. For me, it's a struggle.
Every morning, half hour, first thing, silence. Every hour, half hour. I'm in my prayer space right now. I got St. Philip Neri stained glass, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, St. Damien of Malachite, the light hitting me from stained glass. This is where there's Mary. So I sit in here in this room in the first half hour, just listening. Lord, your servant is present. And whatever your mantra is, make sure you have a mantra in life because your mind starts wandering. I got this crazy 400 emails. Today, when I opened up my emails, I had 340 emails, right? But I didn't hit those first. When my feet hit the ground, hit the restroom, hit the bathroom, I came and prayed. Grabbed my Monster Energy drink and said, okay, now what, Lord? And just said, your servant's listening. Or be still. Whatever my whatever your mantra is, because your mind starts wandering. I got to answer this. I got 14 guys calling me. I need 17 of those and 20. Nonsense. He wants to talk to you. And what better conversation than anybody else that you could talk to?
What is your mantra?
So right now it's be still and know that I am the Lord. So and your mantra will come to you in silence. If you ask the Lord, he'll play something, boom, right in the middle of your heart. It was like, okay, and it changes. The seasons change. You know, you can't have wisdom without age. You know, the 62-year-old Mr. Mike isn't like the 26-year-old Mr. Mike.
Yeah. So
it's getting that wisdom and then say, okay, Lord, you put me in the season that you've blessed me abundantly, right? Now what? But in Luke 18:8, it says, right, when the Son of Man comes again, will he find faith? I take that like as a personal challenge, right? It's my role. It's my obligation in the Catechism. It says in 19, to be the obligation to give hope to the future. Last night I was with 5 guys, 5 young men, 1 seminarian, 1 man discerning the seminary, and a handful of the guys smoking cigars and but I got some Shake Shack, sat at the cigar bar and just sharing the word. I was there 5 hours. And they would, if the place didn't close, they still would want to sit there and just talk. And now we have 2 more dates already set up. So young men right now want to be formed, and we think, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. They just want good, healthy men to sit and walk with them that believe the Lord is real. And not just going on Sundays and say, oh, I did my day of obligation. Are you kidding me?
There seems to be a resurgence with young people, and you're a part of it, and it's exciting. And as much as there's negative and news and social media and everything else, there also seems to be a resurgence of faith and purpose in young people. What do you think our responsibility as, again, if from a not in business, but if we have an authority in any way, if we have a platform in any way, if we manage a small group of 3 to 5 people, some younger people, if we run a business, leaders in the business world, corporate, whatever it is, what is the responsibility? How do we steward these young people and add fuel to that fire when it's there? No, we might not know it's there, but how do we put the fuel on? How do we invigorate this?
So the biggest thing is give generously. Give generously of your time. You know what I'm saying? We talk about our tithe as time, talent, and treasure. You have a talent, educate them about that talent. Right now, I'm doing a crazy, awesome book with my Legatus group and their sons, Fathered by God, by John Elridge. It talks about the different seasons that you're in, that in the beginning, you're a cowboy. First, you have boyhood. Then you're a cowboy. Yeah, let's go do everything. Then you become a warrior with a purpose. But if you're broken in an earlier stage, until somebody helps you get to the next stage, you're always going to stay in that stage. And the end goal is to be a sage, to have wisdom, to be people come to you, to be able to sit with people at their feet. I do this book with so many young, I have about 60 other copies sitting on the ground right now. Any chance to do with the young man. Now, listen, your first day, oh, I want to do a book club with you. Can you, why, job, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Your first day is, you know what? Hey, I'm a cigar smoker. Cigars like a lot of our bishops are, a lot of our priests are. I enjoy good cigars. That's my humidor behind me. So I enjoy. You want to smoke? So the other day I did a book. Catholic men will make America great again. Catholic men will make America great again. I did this with the University of Tampa men students. I asked, it was for Advent. It was like 7 days before Advent started. I said, Mr. Mike's going to be at Christ the King tonight. If you would like a book, I'll get some pizzas. We could talk. I said, a half hour will be. I got 100 young men there. Showed up. I gave out the book. They spent 3.5 hours with me because they want to be formed. So you're going to say, okay, I don't know how to start. I don't know. First of all, if you have a focus group that's at one of the campuses, if you have a college and there's a campus there, getting with St. Paul Outreach or Focus and saying, I'm here to mentor if any young men want. I'll come and just listen. And mentorship is listening more than talking, where they're at. And then you can guide them. Young man yesterday, Mr. Mike, I haven't missed Mass. Like the first thing he said to me, I was leaving the cigar bar. Mr. Mike, great to see you. I haven't missed Mass. I said, that's awesome. He said, that's the baseline. What else you been doing? But he had the courage. It was like I was hearing his confession. I was like, hey, wait a second. It's like, but they want to share. Like I have a crazy book that I do a lot, even with the couples that come over. It's 4,000 questions. So that you can always have a question, say, who's your best teacher? You know what I'm saying? Are you a retirement village type of person? When you retire, will you live in a village? The whys and the whys nots. So it's opening conversation. So many times you sit at a table of 10 people and all of them have separate conversations.
Yeah.
I don't accept that.
Yeah.
There's zero accepting that. We're going to engage to learn about each other and share with each other. And then our goal is, how do we grow to become saints? Our only goal in life, how are you going to become a saint? And who are you going to take with you? It's the salvation of souls that I'm fighting for.
Yep, I love it. First of all, Catholic men will make America great again. If you're not watching the video on YouTube or wherever, he kind of looks like Trump. I said that, right? I mean, hair, like you got it going on, little East Coast. You talked about giving generously of time. You recently, I don't know if this is in the last 6 months to a year, you're involved. So you're in Tampa, the homeless, and actually tell me the story when someone, what led up to and what has happened. A homeless person, I think, tried to come at you, mug you, maybe even take a hit on you, if that's the right term. Tell me that story and what led to all that.
So first, I've been a youth minister forever. And so I'm always feeding the Lord. One day, sitting right here in prayer. And the Lord says, feed my people. And I'm like, I actually have, I know who I am. I actually write down like the conversations I have with the Lord. Like I have recorded, like written down when he's answered. And so it says, Michael, he says, go feed my people. I'm like, Lord, I don't like your people. And he goes, hey, whack job, go feed my people. And that's how I got the name Whack Job for Jesus, because he's like, no, I don't like, Lord, the only day I'll cut a deal with you. I'll feed your people only if I could do it with a Catholic church. If I give you a steak and you still go to hell at the end of your life, what good did I do? It's not giving you the steak. It's giving you Jesus, walking you to the Lord and letting Jesus do his work. So I call the Catholic churches in the toughest section of Tampa and Ybor, and no priest wants to do it. I'm like, hey, Jesus, I sat down. I did my job. Not like an hour from the time that I told Jesus I did my job, that a priest text, Mr. Mike, you could come now on Wednesday afternoons. You could serve.
You thought you were out. You thought you were like, I'm out of there.
I was like, thank you, Jesus. You failed me. I'm okay with it. And then we started feeding, but we feed them catered food. And I walk with $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in my pocket. And I listen to their temporal needs and serve them. So the one day this girl comes up, and then they have an advocate. One of the UT students, University of Tampa, or one of the USF students will walk with them, and they present the homeless person to me with their needs. Tina walks up, Mr. Mike, I need $40. I said, when do you need $40? Go to California. I said, $40 to California. I said, what's going on? She goes, yeah, Mr. Mike, she said, me and 7 other girls are in this hotel that these 3 guys put us in, and they're all flying us all out to California tomorrow. Something didn't sound right there. I call my buddy, the chief of staff at the mayor's office. He gets the chief of police. We arrested 3 guys, went to jail that night for human trafficking. So hearing the cries of the poor. So now listen, I'm walking with cash in my pocket. And when people say, don't give cash to the homeless, I'm done judging people. My job is not to judge. My job is to be judged one day. So when we think I give freely of everything, I'm attached to nothing. There's nothing I'm attached to. So once you're detached from like, oh, I want to put another zero or past a number to give generational wealth, that's like nonsense to me. That's like, I'm so over it. So now I'm walking with like $5,000 in my pocket. I have $10 bills, $50 bills, $20 bills, $5 bills. Yesterday I gave out $5. I gave him the book, Matthew Kelly's book, not Holy Moments. It was the Joy one. And I gave it.
Slowing down to the speed of joy.
Yes. Slowing down to the speed of joy. And if he wrote an essay about how you're slowing down, these are homeless people. The next week they write an essay, they get $5 from me. The best essay gets $200. I collected 100 essays last night. So now I'll read them today. I'll go through them and do the best. I'll go next week and say, I'll read the 3 of them and I'll let them vote. And I say, your votes don't count. This is the one. But I'll read them to engage them. But that's how radical that I look at the Lord, is like, how can I bring them, truly encounter them? So they know I had a lot of cash on me. So there was that talk down at the bus station. We're going to take Mr. Mike out. The police heard about it. Like the police had come to me and say, hey, Mike, we've heard there's a hit on your life. They're going to hit you when they come. So I still showed up. I was like, I'm in a good space with the Lord right now. If I go now, I only think I'll get like 400 years in purgatory. I'm afraid what it could be like. So I'm like good right now. I'm in a good space. I'm like, Lord, you need me, you could take me. So my homeless buddies hear the story. People are like, Dirt's telling, please, blah, 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 blah. All the homeless guys, now they're my bodyguards. Like I got guys around me to keep other people away from me. They're like, Mr. Mike, something happens to you, that person will die right there. We promise you. I was like, that's how serious. But it didn't stop me. It didn't stop me, because once you encounter the Lord in the poor, it changes you. It just changes you. It's like, so I have 300-400 homeless people have my cell phone number that they text me all day long.
It's incredible. And I mean, think about that for a moment. If you're listening, how would you build a relationship with 300 to 400 homeless people? And not the mechanism of it, but the time it takes when you're giving your time. And then, so think about how much time Mike has spent on that, but also think about what, like he is exposing them to something completely different that they just don't have access to. They just don't have the exposure to that, right? So just emphasizing the importance of not just giving financially, but giving your time. And how much have you grown? How much have you personally grown from interacting with the poorest of the poor?
It's non-measurable. I thought I was in a great space. 26 years youth ministry, doing sleeping on the ground, doing homeless ministry with the teens, doing Good Samaritan projects, helping the poor, blah blah, doing camps, Cove Crest, Hidden Lake, all the Life Teen camps, going to World Youth Day, spending weeks at a time. I believe it says tithing is 10%. So I pray at least you're tithing your treasure. But it also says talent and time. I give a minimum of 5 weeks to the Lord, and have been for the last 20 years. And that's sleeping on the ground with high school kids, going out and working with kids. Even this Saturday, I have like 30 kids coming over to my home, my condo, that I mentored in the past, that are like the lost sheep that I haven't been talking to them a little bit lately. I'm like, I got to make sure that you're still walking what I fed you. But in our youth group, no kid paid 2 cents to join our youth group. Our youth group, no kid paid 2 cents to go to camp, go to World Youth Day, nothing. I either begged to the church or Marissa and I paid for it. Why? Because I'm sick and tired of putting a dollar between people and Christ. It's the opposite of the gospel. And if you have the ability to help, do not sit down and just say, oh, it's somebody else. The church has it. The church. Nonsense. It's our role as the laity to give the hope for the future. And that's what I do.
How do you referenced a word? We have wristbands on here. You said a whack job.
Whack job.
Why? You said you heard that in prayer, but why? What does that mean? And why do you so proudly call yourself a whack job for Jesus?
Because once you encounter him, so I actually asked my AI Claude account, right? I said, hey, Claude, what's a whack job? And it told me someone who's unstable, someone that's not fit. However, you have taken whack job for Jesus for somebody radically in love with the Lord. So if my bot knows what it means, my AI bot, because I believe it's whatever he tells me today, and every day every day has to be yes, right? I could say no one day. And that scares me the most. I make a commitment today to follow the Lord. And it's a daily commitment when you wake up and say, yes, Lord, I choose to follow you today. Now, one other side note on grit. Twice a year, I have a yes day. No matter what anybody asks, I have to say yes.
What day is it?
So that's the good news. It's whenever I sit in this chair and the Lord says, and then the first thing he makes me do, I go down to the church and sit in adoration an hour, like between 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning. I sit and I was like, okay, don't go by your phone. Okay. But one person asked me, I don't like serving on boards simply because I'm a doer. And we argue about a 20 cent increase for someone's salary or talk about some theory and everybody says no. I just go do stuff. I'm not sitting there. When the Lord speaks, I don't care. I'll knock down walls. I'll go dig under. I'll climb over. It's not going to stop me. So I don't serve.
First of all, I think to close out the whack job comment, yep. I think there's something about if you went around and said, I mean, even how you approach this interview, I'm Mike Guarino, this is what I've done, yada, 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 yada. If you went around doing that, that's not very relatable, right? But we're all human. We're all broken. We're all whack jobs in different ways, right? Like it just creates a connection. Like, look, I'm just another human being. I'm not anything. I mean, you're doing amazing things. I'm not trying, but it's just a humble approach that people can connect to very, very instantly. So I think my point of that is, maybe don't take yourself so seriously sometimes, and be open, be transparent, like have hard conversations, be truthful, be open about your shortfalls, your struggles, your brokenness. I think that's so powerful. And I think once you do that, it's also very freeing for you because you're not hiding things anymore, right?
It's how many different masks do you have to wear? I don't wear no mask. I'm the same type of person you're seeing right now. I don't care if I'm in front of the Pope. I asked Pope Francis to resign. I gave Pope Francis a hat, make the Catholic Church great again, right? I am not afraid. You know what I'm saying? So if you're the same person.
I'm still trying to size you up. I'm still trying to figure you out. I love it.
I actually have one of those hats out there. But that's who you have to be. Is like, so people are like, to the President Trump. I called him a whack job. He's been using the term after I called him a whack job. You can see, oh, this whack job trying to shoot me, he said the other day. So it's not knowing who you are and not being afraid, because everyone thinks they have to put like, oh, I'm successful. That's like such nonsense. That's like all white noise to me. And once you realize it, it's just different. Once you realize who you are, it's just so much easier. So, and it's that walk with them to realize. Like the one day I do with my youth group, I didn't have anybody sign forms. I don't believe in getting signed forms. Why? I have young men going after getting men. Their goal was who could bring the most men to youth group in a year. Their friends. So they would bring other people. Why? I just can't the 12 people, the 100 people that come to church, just preach to them, be with them, walk with them, introduce them to Christ, go get me. So my youth groups always grew because I put challenges. There's one boy sitting there, new Tom, never met. I said, what's your name? Tom, hey, nice to meet you. What's going on? He goes, I'm doing good, Mr. Mike. I said, nonsense. I said, I'm calling BS. How are you really feeling? He goes, well, Mr. Mike, my mom's in jail and I don't know how to deal with this. One of my other boys next to me says, Tom, my mom's been in jail. I could walk with you through this. While that's said, the lady hits me. Hey, Mr. Mike, he doesn't have forms filled out. It's like, his mom's in jail. I looked at him and said, that's my son. You don't know my son? My son could be anywhere with me. But that's how radical we have to start. Now, listen, I got a lot to lose, like finances, blah, blah, blah. And I'm willing to take risk for the salvation of their soul. And we think that we have to do everything it's like so crazy. It's just like we have to be radically. Joseph of Arimathea courageously asked for the body of Christ. He wasn't a disciple. He was a follower. He just courageously, I want to be that courageous. And we still go to his tomb today.
I want to come back to being courageous and what we have to do, the conversation that you had with Matthew Kelly. By the way, I'll also point out here, we had a dinner. The second night there was a dinner and they kind of assigned seats. It's probably no coincidence that you were sitting next to Matthew Kelly. I'm guessing you're pretty giving to Dynamic Catholic Organization, but you hosted an event in Tampa. And I mean, the speaker lineup, the funding of it, but you just talked about, I'm not willing to have money be a barrier between people and the Lord. Tell us more about that event and what you did.
So we had 12,000 people showed up for this little event. We had Father Mike Schmidt. We had the Eucharistic Encounter. Father Mike Schmidt, Bishop Tubes, Bishop Park, Sister Bethany Madonna, Dr. Shree, 8-hour event, free, 100% free. And
no one showed up, right?
No, only 12. I had to close the doors after 12,000. We wanted like 60,000 people wanted tickets. There was no more room in the inn. So I want to do it at Raymond James Stadium where the Tampa Bay Bucks play. That's next. But
listen to this visionary.
And a drone show at the end of it. Outside, salvation history, 15 minutes with 600 drones. They already wrote the program for me, what it would look like. So 15 minutes of a drone show, $120,000 for a 15-minute, 600 drone show. But it would change the way for the blessing to see. It shows from the Earth's creation to the apple to the Moses, and goes through all the stories in 15 minutes in a light show, drone show. So that's the goal. But 12,000 people show up. We had adoration. We had confessions, 1,500 confessions. One confession the first time in 52 years. The priest told me it changed their priesthood. To hear 20 years was common. So people came back to encounter the Lord with their family, and the Eucharist changed them. Jesus in the center of that arena changed so many. The Lord just, the blessing. So the other day we were going to Hawaii for, it was a Scott Hahn, Kimberly Hahn. We were invited guests for a little retreat with them. It's Scott's 40th year as a Catholic. So we're flying out. So we're going from Tampa to Atlanta to Honolulu. And it says on my app, it says see agent. So I'm like, okay, I go to the agent and say, okay, it says see you. Oh, you got a ticket from Tampa to Atlanta. You got to see the agent in Atlanta. I'm like, I am not going to Atlanta and there's no flight. I'll stay in Tampa. I don't like Atlanta that much. I said, why don't I just go? No. They only can fix it there. I was like, okay. Now I'm getting a little hot. It was like, oh, Marissa, if we don't get on this flight. So I go to a different agent. I go to that agent. I said, it says to see the agent. I can't get my flight. She goes, yeah, that's what you have to do. Now I'm about to go back and I bit my tongue. And I was like, okay.
You're about to lose it.
I was like,
you're heating up inside a little bit.
You're an agent to your child.
This is what you wanted to say. Yeah.
I'm a Jersey boy, and I bit my tongue. You know what I'm saying? I just bit my tongue. It was like, okay, thanks so much. She goes, Mr. Guarino, I can't thank you enough for the Eucharistic encounter. It changed my life. I was like, oh, thanks. I'm glad I didn't scream. So we're witnessing, we have received such fruits from being that courageous. And we did that. All that money was raised. The Lord used myself and some of my friends. Basically, like 7 people funded that whole project. And we had the best of the best with the Lord. We didn't give him leftovers. We gave him the best. And we've seen the fruit. They say it takes 3.5% of a population to change the culture. I had 3.5% of the people of Tampa in that arena that night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the culture
incredible.
we're changing at the colleges, at the grammar schools, at the high schools, at old people, young 80 to 8. I don't care. Let's go. And that's what we're doing.
What would you say? I love the word courageous. Courage is one of my favorite words. And again, I want to go back to leaders in business, leaders in households, leaders at wherever. But they want to do some of these. And I think you're also, I would, as I said, I was sizing you up, but I think you're not going to overthink things. You're going to take action. You're going to do, but not everybody's like that. Right. So what would you say to the people that they have ideas, whether that's around faith or whatever it is that's on their heart that they want to do that can have a positive impact, but they're just struggling to have that courage to take that next step?
So for me, especially like in business, there's some, like I always say, living the dream, right? But there's some bad days, right? But it still is, for me, it's what can I do today if I knew I wasn't going to fail? What would I do today if I know I can't fail at it? That's what I do. It's like, so that's how courageous now. Listen, I'm an accountant by trade, a former IRS auditor. That's not that box for an accountant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to put all chips in, like on every bet. But did you know?
You're analytical. You're an accountant. I didn't connect those dots, but yeah. I would never have pegged you as an accountant. Right? Are you analytical? Did you used to overthink things, or no, you've kind of always been like this?
I can read a balance sheet like in seconds, like an income statement I look at it, make a decision, go, let's go to the next decision. I bought deals, multi-million-dollar deals in less than 20 minutes of looking at the books. I said, you guys figure it out, but I'm doing this deal. Let's go. I bought a deal for a partner of ours. We had at one point a bunch of blah, blah, blah car dealerships that someone stole $1 million from me. He started another company and put the number 2 after my company, was taking my checks and depositing. And I could tell you, I don't even know his name. I don't remember his name. I don't know what he looks like. And I don't care, because if I had to be tied to that, not taking risk and doing it, I'd be sitting mourning about that loss.
Right.
So everything's not winners. Everything doesn't come 777. There are bad days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like saying, okay, time to climb the new hill.
First of all, what would I do, or what could I do if I knew I couldn't fail? And I think so often we think about that in the context of financially, but that doesn't, like, playing big doesn't need to be a money game, right? Playing big is, I'm going to do this and I might get lambasted publicly. My friends might there's other ways that, like, there's ego and other things that get in our way from having courage and playing big and not risking all of my money. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about what are your true beliefs? What are you convicted about? And are you playing big to have an impact around whatever that is?
So I have a good friend, Congressman Fortenberry. Congressman Fortenberry was from Nebraska, and he was accused of a crime that they said he committed he was accused of a crime by Biden's CIA or by Biden's FBI, that what he did was somebody gave him $50,000, but there was 12 guys that gave $3,000 each. He didn't know, and the FBI agreed, he didn't know one guy funded all these guys to give him the money. They set him up with the way they asked the question that it was, but when he was on trial, I sat in his trial for 7 days in California. I'm a busy man. But he's a devout Catholic serving the Lord, did so many great things in Congress, and they went after him. He was found guilty. It was a 7-day trial. He was found guilty in like 40 minutes. That he stepped down, then it was overturned, and then Trump, they threw it out totally. It was such a scam to be done. But after that happened, I hired him. Why? Because me just yapping about somebody that you're going to help and not standing with people, that's the opposite of the gospel for me. So when someone's struggling, are you lifting them up? And it's not like, I'll pray for you. That's awesome. I believe in power of prayer. I pray every day. But praying with them and actually to do something, there's a struggle. The Good Samaritan didn't walk over and say, I'll pray for you. You're dying over there. He got the wine. He got the oil. They gave everything and said, so when I come back, I'll give more. I'll go check on you. That's our role. And people that think it's like, oh, it's one or the other. It is both. and that's how we judge, right? The only time one of the times he talks heaven and hell, it's an open book test. You fed me, you clothed me, you visited me, you comforted me. Go to heaven. You didn't feed me, you didn't clothe me, you didn't go to hell.
Yep.
I mean, it's left or right, sheep or goat. Let's go.
I want to take that last minute and a half, whatever that was, and replay it like 3 different times. Like giving me chills, man. At the event with Matthew Kelly, there was a Q&A, and there must have been, you asked the question. So first, to give context, we were talking about his books. He was kind of going through his book, Slowing Down to the Speed of Joy, which is a great book, and I think everyone should get and read. But I sense you struggle with it because the question you asked, which I do as well, which is a quote, to whom much is given, much is required. And you said Matthew, but how do I bring these two things together? Slowing down to the speed of joy, but to whom much is given, much is required. How do you think about that question?
And that's the hardest part. And I hit him, and then he played a little Bible on me, and I love him. You know that. He was like, yeah, well, Mike, don't forget this one, or don't forget that one. Just don't take one. But I've been given so much. I don't believe in the prosperity gospel. I am the prosperity gospel. The Lord has blessed me beyond my wildest imaginations from what's occurred in my life to start. I grew up with 13 of us in one house, right? My cousins had 8. We had 5. We had our parents, my aunts and uncle, and my grandmother, and a German Shepherd. You ate faster. You didn't eat. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing left. I didn't know I didn't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? I was still happy. I was still joyful. But once I've been given, like the Lord, I'll make more in a year than my dad made his whole life. You know what I'm saying? So how do you balance that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, but he's given me, I worked for the IRS, and my dad said to me, he was a county employee, he was the director of the Bergen County Health Department, and loved serving his people and loves helping underdogs. He did amazing work. But he saw me working for the government, and he told my dad, says, you know what? There is no way you're spending another year working for the IRS. You have something, the Lord's blessed you, you go and use it. And that's what it was like. I thought, 20 years, 30 years, get a pension, get this, get that, and you're done. And he was like, you're too smart for that. Go. And that's what occurred. Worked for an accounting firm, and then blah, 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 opportunity. But, Bishop Sheen said, having a to-do list is important. Having a to-don't list is more important. So what are you putting on that you're not going to change, right? So when I use I've been given so much, he expects, I know God loves me for doing nothing. I know I'm his son, his beloved son. He is well pleased with me. I know all that. There's no, but I also know he's like, I've shown you now, go he told me, the Lord told me, change the heart of Tampa. And I'm like, listen, I'm new money.
This is good.
Tampa's all old money. How am I going to change the heart of Tampa? You got to open up doors for me. I ain't doing it. People. And he has put such amazing couples and men in my path to really change the future. One of them, he owned all these McDonald's. His grandfather was number 3 franchisees of McDonald's. He comes on a pilgrimage with me. He's sitting there and he says, and we had mass on Normandy Beach. I didn't have permission to have mass on Normandy Beach, but we had 99 people have mass.
I think you're more of a ask for forgiveness, not permission type of guy.
We had
Mike.
a bishop and 6 priests celebrating on Normandy Beach. He get back to their boat. We're on a river cruise. He's on the boat with us. And he goes, Mike, why are you such in love with this dead guy? I said, he's not dead to me. He's alive. Let me walk with you to my friend Jesus. I just was his sponsor as he came into the church, right? Because you could walk with somebody that had all the things he thought, and he was missing. He is such a more joyful man right now. He thanks me. He's like, so, the Lord's blessed me, and we haven't talked about my little Marian shrine that we're building. So what the Lord told me, but so
or Asmar, by the way, but go ahead.
Yes.
But let's talk about the shrine, because this thing is going to, it's got to be the full size, Mike. You know it.
So I was in Medjugorje. My wife, Marissa, who's, listen, a visionary without an executor is called a dreamer.
Yep.
I'm not a dreamer today because my wife is the executor, and she just does it. And we sit down. We have, we have board meetings, just her and I, and we talk about the 3 Fs: family, finance, and faith. And we sit down. And then we write down from the board meeting, and then we say how we're going to go through our faith, our finances, what's important to each one of us, and how we make sure we're evenly yoked and working together. So I'm not doing something or she's not doing that. We're evenly yoked, and such an important part. So Marissa gets a message from Mary, says, bring Michael to Medjugorje. And we're on a trip. We're on that trip. Actually, it was 2 years ago when we're on the river. And I'm like, Marissa, if you can make it happen, we can make it happen. We haven't been home for 2 weeks. What's another week? Let's go for the. So she gets us to Medjugorje, and I'm on top of the hill, and I'm praying, and one of the visionaries takes a picture of us, who I know, and there's a light shining right through me on top of the hill. And then the next picture she takes, and there's a light just shooting down. As she took the picture, I'm in prayer, and the Lord says, build a 600-foot shrine for my mom. And I'm like, hey, Jesus, I'm not building. Like, you let somebody else. There's other people sitting around here. Put that on somebody else's heart. Let me just be Mike. Leave me alone right now. Like whack job. Like, I've been doing everything you said. It's my turn.
600 feet. Just
Jesus, Rio, 150 feet. Statue of Liberty, 300 feet. The biggest statues that's coming to America, it's a Buddha, 310 feet with the base that they're putting in North Carolina. Are we a Buddha nation?
Yeah.
Like, it just breaks my heart. So 600-foot shrine, and in her stomach, I want to put a chapel that the door can open and Jesus can be over Tampa. Our diocese owns the land. It's a new cemetery on the I-4 and I-75. 1 million cars a week past this location. Could you imagine? So I went to the city first.
Does anyone listening this doubt this is going to happen? If you're not watching, he just covered his face. He's like, because you don't know how to do it yet, right? You don't have a plan yet, but you just covered your face because it's happening. It's happening.
The Lord spoke it to me. You know what I'm saying? Over my dead body, it might not. That's the only way. You know what I'm saying? As long as I can live forever, not here. I have one goal: to live forever somewhere else. Actually, what I just got? My wife got nervous. I have our coffin now is our coffee table. My coffin's our coffee table at our home. So I can know where my end resting place is.
Huh.
So I'm starting to put things that I want in my coffin that's going to be with me forever. It's like, listen, you make sure I got my Bible. You make sure I got my rosary. You make sure and how I want to dress is I put a collar on today. I just wear Tommy Bahama shirts. I'm going with a Tommy Bahama shirt.
That's right.
That's all I'm going. No way you're going. So 600-foot Mary, I go to the mayor's office, and the mayor's office says, Mike, you got to get the FAA's approval because of plane flights. So I said, listen, she goes, the crown's going to have to glow all the time to protect planes. I said, even better.
Right. Oh, no.
Thanks for telling me, sharing that part. I didn't even think of that one.
It's a great idea.
I started to talk to a religious order. Mother Superior is like, Mike, we'll build a convent there and we'll be praying the rosary all day. Anybody that shows up, we'll just sit there and pray the rosary with them. So it's like pieces coming together. Our bishop isn't in on yet. He was like, Mike, it's because it's going to be 15 probably, all in $15 million, right? So it's a number. And I told our bishop, I will give or get the cash. I will give or get all that cash. I said, take the equation, money off the equation.
Right. It's not going to be a barrier. It can't be a barrier.
But now
if you have those means, the relationships, the connections, don't let it be a barrier. One other thing I want to just, I think that, we have, so I think I told you, but you told a story about youth ministry around the fire. And I want to connect that to May 29th, which is tomorrow, a year ago tomorrow, our local church burned down.
Oh,
catastrophic fire. And the priest went in to try to get, so tell me that story.
Oh, that is,
but by the way, while you're thinking about that, I have prayed over that. I'm going to riff.
Yep.
For you listening, you know who you are. We have such a responsibility for this church to do the right thing.
Yeah. That priest is awesome. I've never met him, but he's been on my heart because I have that picture that I had prayed about, that church and his commitment to the Lord and the love of Jesus. So I do this crazy fire and ice retreat for life team. I do this. The piece is that the one story is, right, so first I'm in adoration and this young man, so it's the only time during fire and ice, it's right before I do this event with the fire, which I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk about what I do with the fire, but this young man right before the going outside to the fire, we're in adoration for an hour, taps me, and I'm like, yeah, the bathroom's over there, you can go. He goes, no, Mr. Mike, I need you. I'm like, I'm just praying, like, it's the only time I got really, we go outside and he's a big boy. And he says to me, Mr. Mike, I think I killed my dad. I'm like, I can't hear your confession. It's like, oh, he says, Mr. Mike, he says, my dad left my mom 3 years ago. And every time that he came, he goes, I always went. Every time he called, I went. The last time he called, I didn't go and he committed suicide. Hey, Mr. Mike, I think I killed my dad. Holy Spirit and that's given my time, making sure. And then the Lord inspired me. I don't been trained for this. I would know nothing to say. Then the Holy Spirit said, hit him. It was like, that's a lie. Devil's coming after you just like he came after your dad. You cannot live that lie. I said, I'll do anything in my power to walk with you. I'll go down walls. I'll do anything, but you can't live that anymore. And he just graduated college, that young boy. I'd seen that fruit. But this was right before I do this because I always go to pray about, so I go in, we have a big fire. The fire goes for 40 hours and I never leave the fire. I sleep like 2 hours during 40 hours. So any kid that wants to come down at night, come down, talk to Mr. Mike. We have a Bible out, 10 minutes in the Word. Then we just share what's on your heart, what you're talking about, how's school, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's 4,000 questions if they let me. And just share with them. Blah, blah, blah. And then I say, some of you are confused on what's important in your life. And I have my polo shirt. I take my shirt off. Some of you think clothes are the most important, buy nice clothes, and I throw those in the fire. I said, some of you think sports. You're going to miss you're going to go to a sporting event and miss church because baseball or volleyball is most important, and I'll throw that into the fire. I said, some of you are going to think, alcohol. You're going to drink with your friends the night before. I'm not stupid. You're going to go out on a Saturday night and not want to get up, and I'll open a can of beer and I'll throw that in the fire. I said, some of you are really going to be confused, and you're going to think money's the most important. And I start throwing $20 bills into the fire. And now they're like, oh, wait, the game on. I wear those crazy sneakers, the Yeezys, right? So and then I say, and some of you really like real nice clothes, and I throw them in the fire. At this point, kids are ready to jump in the fire. And then I pick up my Bible and I said, you know what, if I threw my Bible in the fire, would you do the same thing? Or if I went back into the tabernacle and got Jesus and threw Jesus in the fire, are you willing to die for Jesus in that fire? Wherever you wanted to jump in, that's your God. And you have to decide what is God. Is it's mammoth? Is of this money? Is it what's your possessions? Or are you going to really follow the faith? Young men and women, I've been doing that 20 plus years, still tell me how it made their life in perspective. Because after I do that, I do a crazy fireworks show. And we start blowing up stuff in the sky because it's the impact. So a lot of our days, like you're on the normal plane, but what's your mountaintop experience? Where are you going on retreat? If you haven't gone on a retreat in the last year, shame on you. If you're married, with your spouse, and another one with yourself, with a group of men, a silent retreat by yourself. You can't give what you don't have. Too many times we just think we can get everything. Nonsense. It's like, no, you're not him. It's like how you walk and how could you make sure someone's for me? You're like, last night I was attacked by the evil one. Yesterday with the homeless, crazy attack. As soon as I left them, I called my spiritual director, got on the phone and went through. And then he gave me 3 crazy prayers because it was evil was in that room. Darkness was in that room. And it's not from them. I love them. I do anything for them. But there was supernatural things. If you don't believe the devil exists, I don't know how you can believe God exists. The devil's out there fighting every day, and he's fighting for people like yourselves that are doing the right thing. He does not like us. And if he's not attacking you, you're not doing enough. Go figure it out.
I love it. I love it, Mike. That's unbelievable. And thanks for sharing that story and just putting in context. I mean, even when you grab that Bible and said, are you willing to jump in there? Because one of our priests, what happened a year ago, I was getting choked up, but a year ago, he wanted to go in. He tried to go in, and they held him back. I don't want to mix up the story. He might have got in, couldn't find it, and but he wanted to go in. They wouldn't let him get in. He's like, I have to go in. I have to go in.
Praise the Lord. That's a man that knows who he is, and that's a man that knows the love of the Lord. Like even that little box behind me, that's actually a mass kit from the Civil War. So I can remember how people died for what they believed in to unite our country. You know what I'm saying? That's how crazy. So I have memory. That's a first class relic up there of St. Philip Neri, patron saint of joy, being surrounded by things to remember who we are, right? Charles Carroll of Carrollton was the richest man in the New World, and he signed the Declaration of Independence. He not only signed his name, he put his city. It was fun to find him. He was the only guy that did that. And he was the only Catholic. He risked his fortune, his faith, and his family for what he believed in. Do you have that kind of courage? Do I have that kind of courage? What I believe in, I'm willing to put my name down and to fight. There was one guy that signed the Declaration, died penniless. He was the biggest contributor to the Revolutionary War. And he died in an unknown grave, an unmarked grave, because he believed that much in giving. Now, there's a great movie out, The Great Awakening. It's a must-watch. Ben Franklin's it. It's a 100% must-watch. It's on Apple TV. And there's a free one on YouTube, another great, crazy movie. You're going to hate me in the beginning. You'll love me at the end. It's called The Island, but it's the Russian. Say, when you YouTube The Island Russian, it's in Russian. It's 3 hours. The first 2 hours, you're going to be like, what the bleep? And at the end, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. So work through it. But I'm telling you, it is, The Awakening is one of my new favorites. And Entertaining Angels by Dorothy Day. Another one, Dorothy Day, Entertaining Angels. It's about her life and what she did and the way she loved unconditionally. That's our goal, is we are going to be judged the way we love.
Mike, this is absolutely unbelievable. A buddy of mine just told me about that 2 weeks ago. So there's my sign. I need to watch that for sure. And I'll tell you about The Island when I get to that. Okay. But I want to give our listeners a call to action. One call to action this week. What do they need to do?
As you guys heard a little bit, those are some of the things we're doing. We're actually doing 20 dioceses, taking care of priests. I'm a substitute high school teacher in our Catholic school. So for me, one is like, wait a second. So, okay, you can't give what you don't have. If you haven't been on a retreat within the last 6 months, last year, figure out to sign up for a retreat. Get on a retreat. Either I love couples retreats, but a men's retreat, go. And the other piece is 10 minutes before you pick up your phone, before you do anything, spend 10 minutes in silence and just say, the Lord, you're here. Your servant is listening. Whatever your mantra comes to, just, Lord, your servant is listening. And just be quiet then. And then, so that you can, because people are like, oh, I don't hear the Lord's voice. Have you been trying to listen? You've been talking at him all the time. So I think that's some of the pieces for me.
You are the most interesting man in the church, Mike. This has been absolutely fun, and we laughed, I cried. This has been absolutely fantastic. How does what you do? How does it make you feel?
I am so filled. Like last night, I was hurt. The evil one attacked me, like I said yesterday when I was working with my friends from the streets. I then took 5 young men out for cigars and got Shake Shack and sat with them. And as I'm leaving, hey, Mr. Mike, someone calls me that just wants to tell me that he's going to church and how can he, and he's heard the Lord said he's supposed to be a priest and he's been working. So here I am with one of the seminarians, like, talk to him. Let's get him in front of the vocations director. So it's like, the Lord has like put all these pieces. So when I do my examination of conscience, listen, if you're not doing an examination of conscience daily, that's another thing. You got to go through, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What can I do better? He loves you unconditionally, but be the best version of yourself. And if you're not questioning yourself, shame on you. Like, you don't know. So it's working through that piece to say, okay, so do I get filled? I get filled so much. It's overwhelming. Like you said, I laugh, I cry easy, I laugh easy. But like even when you were introducing me, I get overwhelmed just when people say that. Someone once said, a good friend of mine, it's like, Mike, I keep my hair long. I'm afraid I'm going to lose it all one day, so I'm letting it stand.
I don't know anything about what that would be like.
You can't relate to that.
It's freedom. It's freedom. Right. That's what it's like.
So someone came out with scissors. We're going to cut a piece of my hair. They said, Mike, we just want to have a first-class relic. I said, to be a saint, I got to be dead. And I'm not doing anything saintly. I'm just doing what the Lord tells me. You could be walking right next to me every single day. Where are you? You know what I'm saying? So people say crazy things. And I say, no, come, whack jobs, let's go. But the Lord has blessed me. You can't be a leader with no followers. The Lord's blessed me with an army in Tampa.
Yeah.
And we're taking the hill.
Mike, this has been so fun. Again, I appreciate it so much. You have a lot going on. You're serving in so many ways. Just coming on here and spending time with us, I appreciate it so much. How can people support what you're doing? Find out more about you. Where do you want to direct them?
Nowhere. I don't have anywhere. It's like best kept secret. I try to stay a low profile. If they need any information on it, they could just email me, mikegu@aol.com. I'm old school. That's my only email I've ever had.
AOL.com. That is still a thing.
mikegu@aol. Somebody wants it, text, and I will answer it, and I'll call back. If you leave your number, I'm open.
Mike, this has been unbelievable. Thank you so much for your time and sharing. If you're listening to this, if you're inspired by Mike, as you should be, share this with one other person. Get Mike's message out. He's doing so many amazing things, so many things we can learn from. We just take one piece from today. What is that for you? Mike, I appreciate it so much. For the Purpose Matrix, signing off.